Welcome, 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 welcome. It's another beautiful day here from my end. My name is Leo Lipele Nupolu Johnson, and I'm here again, once again, with another series, another episode of the Liberian Dream that we've all been talking about now for the last number of weeks, for those of you who have been joining us. But today we have a very special topic we are going to focus on, and we're going to talk about focus on a little bit of the landscape of leadership in Liberia. You know, I've often said to people that for those of you who are hoping that the 2023 elections is going to bring about change, you might just be wasting your time. And I'll tell you why. I'll help you understand what I mean by that. But before I go any further, for those of you who may be joining us for the first time, the Liberian Dream is a conversation about building a future, a foundation for Liberia where all Liberians can see themselves as a valuable part of our society, where Liberians from Lofa, from Bonn, from Maryland, wherever in the country, where a young child who's learning how to farm in Lofa, or a young child who's good at singing, or a young child who's learning how to sell in the markets, does not have to come to Monrovia, does not have to try to be like someone else to be a valuable member of the Liberian society, can be able to contribute to the Liberian society regardless of where they are, regardless of what school they went to, regardless of who their parents are, regardless of how much money they've got. The Liberian Dream is this conversation where we're saying Liberia has to be a place where all of us, in spite of our challenges, in spite of our socio-economic class, can be able to participate in our country and be able to see our value added as members of the Liberian society and as citizens of Liberia. But let's get to today's topic. And today's topic is the fact that we are saying impact Liberia through leadership, not the presidency. And this is directly focusing on the landscape of our country as it states right now, where everybody will let us to believe that the only way they can meaningfully change Liberia, the only way they can meaningfully impact Liberia is if we make them president. That is the biggest lie ever told, because positions and leadership are not the same. Those are two different things. We've seen many presidents in the past that had absolutely no leadership. So maybe it's about time for us to start questioning politicians, right? Maybe it's about time to start questioning those who are asking us for more. Where is your leadership? And I'm going to focus on a few things that I believe should be the underlying key when we talk about questioning people about their leadership in Liberia. We're seeing a lot of politicians telling us that they have the ability to change Liberia. We're seeing a lot of non-politicians telling us, in fact, because they are not politicians, they are the best people to change Liberia. Have you asked yourself, where is their leadership? And remember, when you are asking for positions like the presidency of Liberia, it goes beyond just what you've done for yourself personally. It goes beyond that. It's a question about how have you contextualized your personal success for the greater good of society? How have you understood the implementation of transparency? How have you looked at how you can extend your gifts, your talents, your resources, and what you've done for the general good to be able to show to us what real leadership is? And I've questioned a lot of people about it, because we've seen a lot of philanthropists now making the argument that because they can do philanthropy, so that means they can become president, right? Because you can feed 100 children, you can become president. No, the two are not the same. And I will give you some simple questions we should be asking about. Most of my friends who are members of political parties in Liberia, and many of you are, most of my good friends who I respect a lot, often talk to me about the possibility of joining political parties. And my one question is, I have a few rule of thumb that I use when I'm looking at joining organizations, right? Number one, they say follow the money. Any organization you want to understand how it's set up and how it runs and how it functions, or whether the right systems are in place, ask about the financials. I've asked people in Liberia, can any political party show me their audited financial statements? Yeah, your audited financial statement at the end of the year. I would like to understand how you run your political party, because you are vowing to become the president of Liberia. Are you able to make financial reports? Because if you cannot make financial reports for your small political party, it's the same way we'll be chasing you for the budget performance report when you become president of Liberia, and you will not think it's important. And you might have too much power to be able to bully us and not present it. I can only judge your ability for understanding how to be accountable and transparent from how you run your political party. How many of you, your political parties, can show us year in, year audited financial reports? How much did the party raise? How much did the party spend? What did it spend it on? You want to understand how an organization is built and know how it's run? Follow the money. That's one thing, right? All of these people, in fact, those who are on the philanthropist side, who say you are philanthropists and you run your foundation or you run this, have you ever seen their audited financial reports? These are public documents, by the way. These are not things you are supposed to ask for. Any organization is supposed to have these things displayed for the public to see. How can I be entrusting you with the highest office in the land, one that has a lot of responsibilities that come with this, ones that have one of the greatest responsibility of managerial strength? How can I trust you with it when you cannot even show me your audited financial report from your political party? Right? Ask your political parties, those of you who are members, ask them, where are your financial reports? The next question you should be asking them is, what is the democratic nature of your leadership? We've seen in Liberia by default that the person with the most money and most popularity in the party tends to become the party standard bearer. And we've come to a place where standard bearers have become standard bearers of life or for life. Let's put it that way. Go down to peace be to his ashes, right? Councillor Charles Walker Brumskin, right? Go down to the Unity Party. Madam Selig was standard bearer, automatic for round 2 when Unity Party was dead. When she left, the most popular person in the party, Vice President Joseph Boakai, automatically got declared as the standard bearer of the party, even though he lost an election. Right? Go to the ANC, it's the same thing. Go to CDC, it's the same thing. So tell me, if you cannot do something as simple as so because of that, you people wonder when people run for elections in Liberia and win, and then after the election, you see all type of funny people show up and are winning contracts here and are getting money here, and you are confused. Did you ever see the audited financials? Look, the audited financials of an organization tells you the whole picture. It tells you what the party prioritizes, or what the organization prioritizes. Where do they spend their money? It also gives you one key information. Where do they get their resources? How? Is it one person that's bankrolling the whole party? Who are the contributors? It also tells you if these political parties are honest and transparent to live within the laws of Liberia. Because the laws of Liberia frowns against, the election laws of Liberia frowns against foreign cash flowing into our electoral systems. So if you can see your political party financial statements, how can you say you are a member? How can you tell me you understand what you're doing? And people don't want to ask these serious questions. Because when you ask them, people get offended by them. All of our political leaders, many of them are running charities. Where are the financial reports? Because when you run these organizations, these are public institutions. No, it's not your Susu Club. It's not your private stuff. These are public organizations, so it is accountable to the public. And your audited financials are not only for members of your parties or your organizations. Your audited financials are for people, the general public, to see and to be able to ascribe a certain type of characteristics to your party. The reason certain people can stand up and say this organization is a great organization, it's very transparent, it's well run, it's because they've seen these things. When have you seen the annual progress report of your parties being published? Right? Look, until you learn how to do these little things, there is no way you can convince me in the world that you are able to become president of Liberia. I've argued that anybody who should become president of the Republic of Liberia and be successful will have to show us at least 1 decade of work when it comes to structuring the narrative of the Republic of Liberia, when it comes to demonstrating what type of future our country is supposed to be aspiring to, when it comes to demonstrating at the community level as to how can our country rethink itself. This is not voodoo. 6 years, people argue it's not enough time to turn a country around. That's why when you put people there who have no solid record of how to lead, it goes nowhere. So those of you who are running to be politicians, stop asking us for the presidency. Show us your leadership. Don't tell me. Show me. Anybody who tells you they need the presidency to change Liberia is a fraud. You do not need the presidency to change Liberia. Mahmoud Johnson went to Liberia and opened Canal Fresh. He never became the president. He employs more people than any average politician in the Republic of Liberia. Eric Wawa went to Liberia, started the Change Agent Network, now running some of the best schools in the country. He did not need to be president. He employs more people than your average politician. Stanton Witherspoon went to Liberia and opened the Spoon Network to see his television. He did not need to be president of Liberia. He probably employs more Liberians than the average politician. Mr. Dennis Jah, Focus on Liberia, where I'm sitting, has become one of the strongest platforms in the diaspora, amplifying the voices of Liberians. He did not need to be a politician or a political leader of an institution to be able to do this. So how can you tell me you deserve to be the president of the Republic of Liberia, but you cannot show us leadership? I don't need to know how much money you've got. I don't need to know how much connections you've got. I don't need, look, people can have all the connections in the world. When you are not a leader, you will never understand how to leverage and utilize your connections for the good of our country. We see it every day today. How many popular people we haven't seen? How many well-connected Liberians we haven't seen? But Liberia still language is where it is. And you wonder why they cannot leverage those connections, because there is no leadership. Let's stop looking. Anybody who tells you that for them to change and impact Liberia, we need to give them the presidency is a fraud. If you cannot do it outside of the presidency, you will not be able to do it within the presidency. You know why? Because first of all, the government is broke. It would take some actual leadership to be able to mobilize Liberia and build the structures and systems for us to be able to fully actualize our actual net worth as a country. There is no money sitting there for you to come and spend. So without leadership, you're doomed. Anybody who tells you, can I show you about 10 years? I'm not talking about 10 years of passing around and distributing cash like candies. That is not leadership. People with true leadership can do the most with the smallest. Wasting cash around because you can afford it, it's not leadership. It's cash violence. That is not leadership. Right? Putting out a $20,000 result and spending $300,000 is not leadership. Building a bridge that actually is supposed to be worth $20,000, but you spend $200,000 on it to prove a point. It's not leadership. It's cash violence. Quick impact projects. It's not leadership. It's dishonesty. Building more schools. It's when the government itself, when you have nowhere telling us how you can maintain these schools, it's not leadership. It's ignorance, right? When you, the basic necessities and your basic responsibilities that you are supposed to meet, and you ask us to hail you because you did it. It's not leadership. It's ignorance. It's low self-esteem. So please, all my friends, those of you people who call me to join political parties, and to all of you Liberians, ask for all the political parties in Liberia, which one of them have any audited financials from the day they were founded? I'm not even talking about now. Anyone, what I was 10 years ago, please tell me. Yeah, my brother Armstrong Jagba also. Agriculture Liberia. He did not need to be the standard bearer of any political party. He did not need to be a millionaire. In fact, the only people who have truly impacted Liberia are the people who had little or nothing. I will tell you that. Please go back to history. That is the reason why we're in a country with a constitution that is impossible to implement, with a constitution that we photocopy and borrowed from the United States, and the people who came and brought it in the country, who tried to rewrite it, all of them are still alive, but all of them are mute. All of them are quiet, are silent on the fact that this constitution is an impossible document. We need to overhaul it and redo it. Think about it. Stop wasting your time on politicians. Stop wasting your time. They have no value to you. I've sat here before. I said to people, the new movement we must start is quit your political party. Please tell me, for those of you who are members of political party, please, other than corruption and stealing and getting things that you don't deserve, please tell me, what value has political parties done for our young people? Some of them joined us since 2015 when they were 15 years old. They are in their 30s now, and they've gotten worse. The reason you join an institution is because you understand the innate benefit to you, the innate value to you. You don't join an institution because you hoping that one day, somebody will give you something that you do not deserve. What happened? If these institutions are political institutions, how come we're not seeing the next best political speech writers? How come we're not seeing the next best political thinkers, the next best group of economists, the next best group of debaters? The next best group of strategists. How come we're not seeing them? If these are political institutions that are meant to continue to improve the political nature of our country, just ask yourself these fundamental questions. It's like joining a church. You join a church to become a Christian. And after so many years, you don't even know what the Bible is. You don't even know what the meaning of the Bible is. So why join the church then? If these are political institutions and they are meant to enrich, develop, improve our political systems, how come up to today's date, we still have political parties running out of the pocket of individuals? We still have political parties that do not produce any audited financial report. We still have political parties that do not give any accountability. I'm not even talking about their members that do not meet with the minimum requirements of the law. We're sitting in a country where nobody knows how to identify who Liberian citizens are. I dare you, Liberians who have never left Liberia, according to the UN report 2018, up to 65% of Liberians have no record of their existence whatsoever. In Liberia, they have no birth certificate, they have no record of birth, they have no passport, they've never gone anywhere, so they're in Liberia. There is no record of them. Absolutely. And we are supposed to have people who are leaders passing around and telling us that they can change Liberia? How? And nobody can tell us, look, you don't even need to implement it. You only need to start helping us understand what are the ways it can be done. The same thing we did. I gave an example with Firestone. Firestone came to Liberia, decided to open 1 million acres of rubber farm, right? Planting rubbers, and they decided to tap the raw latex and send it back to America. They had no interest in adding value to the product in Liberia. Since 1926, this is 2021, and we are still blaming Firestone for why we cannot produce rubber or slippers or hand gloves. Ebola came and killed our people because we could not afford rubber gloves. Who stopped a Liberian entrepreneur from opening a rubber factory that can produce slippers in Liberia? Who stopped a Liberian entrepreneur? Who stopped a Liberian rich man or rich woman that passing around? Who stopped a Liberian politician or political leader who wants to help our country economy become stronger? But what do? All of our politicians and leaders in the country blame Firestone for not opening a rubber factory. How is that a Firestone's problem? Firestone came to your country, struck a deal with your government. And that's what they do. They are a private business. They got no fish to fry in what you decide your economy should become. It is up to you, your country, to figure that out. How is that we get point where our legislature will summon Firestone to say why Firestone got to lay people off? Firestone is a private company. They can lay people off whenever they want. That is absolutely okay. If they decide a certain portion of their business is no longer profitable and they must lay off people, they lay them off. They are a private business. But let's get back to the topic. The biggest lie we've ever been told in Liberia, let's debunk it today. Nobody in Liberia needs the presidency to exhibit leadership. No, in fact, the most impactful way to change Liberia is through leadership and not the presidency. The presidency should be a reward for leadership. The presidency should not be a promise for what you would do. Let's change this narrative around. Let's start asking people, what made you think you qualified to become the president of Liberia? What have you done for us to give you the most sacred position in our country? People who cannot even manage their households, asking you to make them presidents. People who use your resources, cash violence against you, asking you. The presidency should be a reward of merit, of leadership. It should not be a place for people fooling around. No, we can no longer take it. I challenge you, anybody who's a member of any political party, I challenge you to please send me an audited financial report. I challenge you. And then we sit there, everybody now president, we are his president. And everybody is praying to God that things should just continue to get so bad that they too can become, it doesn't work that way. Let me tell you one thing today. I keep telling people every day, if the Liberian people go to work and elect anybody to become president, I care less of how inept and incompetent you are. I now have a responsibility to pray for you so that you can do well. Because all of us are not able to unblock ourselves from Liberia and go somewhere else. So we just have to pray that God help this person, please guide them, let them succeed so that at least we got another 6 years to make that decision and decide again. For those of you watching, the numbers are on there. We will soon open the lines to take some calls. Also, you can put your comments and your question online. Every day I sit here, I pray for President George Manneh Weah to succeed. Not because I am a seditian, not because I love him so much. No, it's only because he is the president of Liberia. If he does not succeed, we are all in a mess. If things keep getting bad, we are all in a mess. I can't. My political party is Liberia. So anybody who Liberia ends up picking up must have my utmost respect. I can disagree with them. And for you who are Liberian professionals, let me warn you, or let me caution you or admonish you, whichever term English term you want to use. Me, I can lose the English word at times. Let me admonish you that you either want to be a leader for solution in Liberia or you want to be a political commentator. If you want to do political commentary, Liberia is so bad. We don't need more political commentators. Don't confuse it. Don't keep flipping and flip-flopping. One day you're professional, another day you're a political commentator or you're a political pundit. So we sit in the diaspora, we call ourselves professionals. We spend all of our time and bashing government, bashing everybody, everything that there is about politics, we bash it, we go against, and then we go to Liberia and write project proposals and go to the same government and say the same government might get us money to change the healthcare system. Now the problem we got in Liberia, look, I am a professional. I do have my own political leanings, but my political leanings are not important. It doesn't do me any good for it to be out here, right? What does me the most good to be out here is my leadership of how I can impact Liberia, because that I'm hoping would inspire a lot more people. That I'm hoping will inspire a lot more people to do something, to use their leadership. I'm not wanting to inspire more people to join political party. No, I don't want to, because none of them have proven to be anything of any good to any of us so far. Right? So please, if you are a professional, if you are a true leader, right? Be smart. Ask yourself, what part of my leadership do I need right now? Let me tell you something. What good does it do when you come up and say the government in Liberia is corrupt, the government is bad, George Weah this, you insult George Weah, you insult the vice president, you insult anybody. Then what? Somebody asked me the last time, and here's what I told them. If you give me the option of getting money to build 100 housing units in Red Light or in Gorbachev to support poor people versus the option of spending 2 years to try and criticize George Weah to the point where the international community can censure him, I would choose the 100 housing units. That is the most impactful way. Because guess what? 6 years will come. The whole George Weah to account. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're not waiting anymore. This noise you people keep taking over the airwaves and creating too much noise, all of us will be on the airwaves. We will set the record straight. We will shift the narrative gradually. We will be consistent. We will outwork you. We will outthink you. We will outrun you. Because for too long, we sat in the back and said, oh, no, you know what? We don't want to be involved. For too long, we all sat in the back. Let me tell you something. They said when one landlord evicts you, maybe the problem, the landlord hits you. The landlord is the problem. But in 1 year, whenever landlord, 5 of them evict you. Every time you go to a new place, the landlord evicts you. Every time you go, the landlord evicts you. Maybe the problem is not the landlords. The problem is you. We are all sitting here now and pretending like having censure in Liberia, a moving President Weah from power is the solution to our problem. It is not. It's the biggest lie ever told. You can sanction everybody you want sanction in Liberia. It is not the solution to our problem. The solution to our problem is a massive leadership deficit. We've gotten used to rewarding bad people. So you can censure all you want. You can change presidents all you want. We've done it multiple times. We not get a military president. They have an educated president. The soccer star president. The one, which one again? The country president. Everyone you think we've tried it. The rebel leader president. We've tried it. The problem is not that. You will not have a solution because everybody is sanctioning Liberia. Nobody in Liberia is focusing on the problem. The problem is a massive leadership deficit that we are dealing with, that we will need 20 to 30 years of consistent efforts to get there. We will take some comments before we go to the phone lines. The phone lines are set 605-313-6004, and the code there is 791403. You can call to chime in and let us know what your thoughts are, but we will take some comments for now. I know a lot of people have been commenting, so let's read some of the comments and see what feedback we're actually getting here. The phone lines are already open. Montgomery Sass Senior say, great discussion, interesting young man. Thank you, Montgomery. McSherry Johnson say, you are the man of our time, Leo. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Vani Goongo Washington, my own brother, say, hey, bro, nice discussion. Hope we have a lot of people joining this program. Thank you, Vani. Good to see you. Mombedo Nadine Joa says, I like the financial part. I agree, Mangia. They must produce their financial reports. Eddie Clark III said, buying bags of rice. Amadou Goyal said, check out Agriculture Liberia, but we create jobs for our people. I already did. Armstrong Jagba is a great friend. Montgomery Sass Senior again says, interesting and sadly, none of those aspiring for the presidency of Liberia is sad to even reflect on saddles of our poor families. Ambassador Isaac Mitchell Supu III says, thanks for the discussion, my dear senior brother. Very, very interesting. Taizao James Nibogba says, opposition are all money eaters. Joseph Conto said, well, our people don't recognize those who seek their interest. Joseph Conto, then let's help them recognize. We have a responsibility to do that as leaders. We can't stop because they're not listening to us. We got to keep pushing. Al Blamo says, no Liberian president will even touch Firestone if they do America. We're not asking anybody to touch Firestone, Al Blamo. We're asking Liberians to try and solve their own problem and stop blaming everybody. The problem we have in Liberia, we don't have any leadership. Joel MacArthur says, this is very educational. We need to educate our people. Al Blamo says, international community, me go call the white man. I hear you. Ambassador Isaac Mitchell Supu III says, hello, my dear senior brother. Thanks for today's discussion. I am closely following the show tonight from Kigali, Rwanda. The problem with our country is the nature of corruption that we possess as citizens. We can't keep doing the same old thing and expect new results. Fully agree. So ladies and gentlemen, let's continue here. I will say this. Every small thing, like why we have a problem in Liberia today, we never think through our problems, right? No leadership. We get economic problem, we run to the World Bank and IMF. As if to say the World Bank and IMF can really solve our problem. The World Bank and IMF is not capable. Y'all need me how many countries y'all know that the World Bank and IMF solve their economic problems? No, the World Bank and IMF can be leveraged, right? But before you run to the World Bank and the IMF, at least sit and understand your problem and have something to give to the World Bank and IMF to work with, right? Small thing happy, we got problem in our country, we call for conference in Washington, D.C. We come and ask the white people. The only thing we can run to the white people for is we tell them, say, we bad, oh, we too bad, you can't stop us from being bad. We never tell them what is it we want to do. So they come and tell us what they want us to do, right? Let's shift the narrative. Again, the phone lines are open. If you want to chip in, please go ahead and actually call. We will keep this conversation practical. So our old man in West Point can understand. Our old man in Gobacha, our Papelen can all understand it. We will keep it practical and simple. This issue what we have as Liberians, every time we want to talk about our country, we talk about it in these massive jargons, problems that we are unable to solve. People will look at you and tell you, say, they want to change the economy of Liberia. Are you capable? You are not able. You are not able. You are not able to change the economy of Liberia because you even do not understand it. So let's keep the conversation practical. Let's keep it simple. Because all of us, that's what the Liberian dream is about, need to participate. We need to start rewarding the people who are providing leadership in our country, the Armstrong Jagbas of the world. Everybody need to start buying rice from Lebanese people's store now. You need to start buying it from Armstrong Jagba Agriculture, Liberia. We need to. We must change the narrative, people. We have to change the narrative. For too long, we've lived in this falsehood of telling people, say that we can solve, everybody else will can't solve our problem. Let me tell you today, nobody's coming to save Liberia. The Americans have tried since 1847. They did not take as much as they want. The Chinese will try. They will do nothing. They're not interested in saving you. They're only interested in what they want. Bring anybody you want. You'll be wasting your time until Liberians start to solve our own problem. That is the reason why we need to start shining the light on our leaders, then on people who are so greedy and wanting power and lying to us that they have to be in politics. They have to be the president of Liberia before they can change our country. That lie. We have enough evidence. Mahmoud Johnson is proof. Armstrong Jagba is proof. Eric Wawa is proof. Amma Harris is proof. Brenda Moore is proof. I can name them. There are many, but you know what we've done?
Leo, we have a caller.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Let's go ahead and take the caller there.
Go ahead.
Okay, what's going on, Leo? It's your boy Dwalu. What's up, man?
I'm doing good, Dwalu. Thank you for calling in again. Let's hear you.
Look, everything you're talking about, it makes a lot of sense. I just published an article. It was carried by the Daily Observer by the Liberian perspective. It's called A Guide to Picking Liberia's Next President. Even though it says president, but it's talking about the leadership of the country. Everything you're saying is 100% true. Well, listen, people must be measured by what they have done in the past to be able to gauge whether they can deliver to what we're looking for. It's very important now. What you say is true. Whoever the people put, they've got to pray for that leader. But by the same token, we have to select people who can deliver. And there are measurements for gauging on who will be able to deliver the kind of leadership we're looking for. People have to read this article. You can Google this. It's called A Guide to Picking Liberia's Next President. It was carried by most of the network out in Liberia. I published this article. Read it. There are measures required to selecting your leader if you want certain results. If you're not doing that, you're going to get a team garbage in, garbage out every single time. I just want to make that point, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution, Dwalu. Thank you so much. And I agree with you. That is the practical reality. We have to make sure we are accounting for the people we put in place. And if we make mistakes and get it wrong once, then we must pray for them until we get a chance again to choose another one. But we will not continue this absolute craziness where we take the conversation to a place where only 20% of people can actually participate in it. We'll not do it anymore, right? The same thing, everybody in the country trying to speak English. Only 20% can speak, and they can't even speak it correct. But everything we do, we go up interior and give our people all kinds of crazy thoughts. George Kanatula says, I'm just joining the show, but going by the headline, can anyone point to any empire or nation that developed outside of central leadership? That is, for example, outside of the king, emperor, or president. I just need one example of the people developing on a national scale without the right leadership in place. One example, please. I will give you one example that I'm very welcome with. I work in Rwanda with a bunch of people for a while. In Rwanda, people think it's Paul Kagame that developed Rwanda. It's not true. I can name you some of the major entrepreneurs that drove the development of Rwanda. I'll give you another example. In Nigeria today, you know why today Flutter Wave has become the first African unicorn, the first ever African startup to hit $1 billion in assets? Started by young Africans in Nigeria. I'm proud to say one of them is my mentee who lived in Canada and worked with my organization before. They took Mark Zuckerberg to Nigeria. Now they are building apps for Facebook. Let's stop talking about developing a nation through the realm of political understanding, because a nation governments are not designed to bring about change. Doesn't work that way. Governments are designed to respond and incubate change. Change has to come from the grassroots, right? There is no way you can tell me the government of Liberia of a $500 million budget is able to solve Liberia's problems. We need to start focusing on leadership outside of politics. Leadership is not politics. The two are not synonymous. Actual leadership is the ability to impact and change. And you can do that as a pastor. You can do that as a market woman. You can do that. In fact, the greatest impact of leadership is often outside of politics, because politics is the management of all kinds of opposing forces and actors. So you're always trying to find common ground. You spend most of your time trying to find common ground and actually solving the problem in politics. Go ask President Barack Obama, he will tell you that. If leadership could bring about absolute change, President Barack Obama could not have witnessed the highest amount of mass shooting under his presidency. So I'm not saying politics is not important. We have a caller. Let's take the caller.
Ali, you go ahead.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, Lena, for the program. I did not want to call out there. I was just laying back and enjoying the entertainment. I mean, you're telling people that you already know, and you're making them actually believe in what they already know. And like the one that just me, I'm looking at under the island, the island, but don't worry, you're gonna find so the other people feel like because IMF has endorsed their action. I mean, there's people will go to all these universities and then wait for another person from the rock shoulders were in school to actually approve of their doing. But the reason why I call it is true. So I come up here and article that he has put on that at the same time when you say the people in power they on their power and what has coming from to give them elected. You know, about all the race, I think the most people like to everybody speaking, and when I come in I don't think that's about to give them leadership and then come back and say, well, people in leadership based on their based on what they're talking about. What has the next done far and what is more sensitive? I mean, what happened to the leadership? Why is it that he has the president before he gets presenting? The other man looks at him. Why can a man go to that open a different committee? Can you know about everything? Why can a man go to that open that for his slippers? They need stand up. They need to sit up at power. They need politicians. Why can't these guys go there and produce some of these things, put their people to work, but they take their money, keep their men out, and they're going to president can really all the money that they have spent. So first of all, so that people you ask the output and really that you are important with others and when for my brother. Maybe somebody else going to be president and he has some sort of record, then you're confident. So thank you so much for having me, Leo.
Thank you for your contributions. So I don't know if George Kanatule can call. He said Rwanda would have never developed without Kagame policies. You don't know that. you are being futuristic. Kagame became the first president of Rwanda after. You're talking about Nigeria, there is poverty. Which country does not have poverty? Rwanda has poverty. Canada has poverty. The United States have immense poverty. So if you want to stretch the argument, then let's stretch it. But Nigeria is vastly developed. And you said because Nigeria is Africa's biggest economy. That is not an argument. You can be the biggest economy and still be a mess. That is not an argument, right? So let's focus on where it is. Like I keep saying, the Liberian dream is about saying, how can we make this conversation so practical that in spite of bad governments, so are you telling me we should all throw our hands in the air and wait till the day Jesus Christ send us a good president or whatever before we can live? No, some of us, we're not wait for that. Those who think you should wait for that, keep waiting. Some of us, we will keep watching other people become millionaires. We'll keep watching people changing entire communities because of what they've been able to actually do in spite of poverty, in spite of bad governance, in spite of everything. It is possible. So let me argue with you and say, no, Kagame did not harness those capabilities. Kagame is criticized by the West as a dictator. Kagame is criticized for imprisoning his political opponents that disagree with him. So what is your definition of good governance? Help us understand that. If you want to take the argument, but I don't want to stretch the argument and get lost here, right? You can argue about government and politics. I'm here to argue about how can we make everybody participate in our country. In spite of bad governance, in spite of poverty, it is possible. It's been done. I'm not saying by focusing on leadership within our country is going to solve all the problems. No. It will never. No country in the world has solved all the problems. No country in the world has solved the problem of poverty in its totality. There is none, my brother George Kanatule. If you know one besides heaven, mention it to me. So the WhatsApp number someone was asking for is 651-399-1614. There is no country in the world that have solved the problem of poverty in its totality. It doesn't exist yet. And there is no country in the world that can tell me their governance is absolutely perfect. Not even a great United States, not even the Rwanda that we like to reference all the time. But they've done some things really well. So all we are saying, Let's talk about where we are. We can't start comparing Liberia to Rwanda. We're not there yet. So let's start cultivating. Look, let me tell you something. The deficit in Liberia is as such that when you bring Jesus Christ today to be president for Liberia, we will still struggle. You cannot build a car production plant in Liberia because you don't have the labor force to begin with, right? My brother Mahmoud Johnson, George Kanatula, is in Liberia. I just spoke with him not too long ago. He's doing extremely well in his business. He did not need the greatest governance in Liberia to do that. My brother Eric Wawa, Armstrong Jagba, is thriving with agriculture Liberia in Liberia. He does not have to save the whole country, but we are hoping that these true leaders that we are mentioning will inspire a lot of people, that if people can start finding ways to be productive in spite of the poverty, in spite of the corruption, in spite of everything, if people can become resilient to know that they can continue to build, to lead, to develop, our country will be better. Those who think we should wait for the best president to show up, keep waiting. We're not waiting because our life is not on pause. So y'all keep arguing for the best president. Y'all keep finding the best. The day y'all find them, we will be happy. We will be grateful. But until then, we will keep finding other ways of ensuring that leadership rises to the top in spite of what position people hold. We will keep finding ways to ensure that our people cannot continue living as destitutes in spite of the corruption, in spite of the bad governance, in spite of everything. Y'all keep waiting. The day y'all find a good president, y'all let us know. But we will keep raising up leaders in spite of their poverty, in spite of where they come from. We will keep raising leaders, right? The day you find good president, you let us know. Maybe that, like you said, if we go by argument, Kagame had great leaders in Rwanda that he could harness it. Do we have the same in Liberia? I don't know. There may be, but our job for some of us is to say, let's keep raising up leaders. Let's keep facilitating this in spite of poverty and everything, because the day there are opportunities to show, we will have the leaders and the people ready to actually do that. Can we, are there some more comments that we can actually take, Anthony?
We're not yet. I'm trying to connect this WhatsApp caller, so give me a moment.
All right. We will not throw our hands in the air because Liberia has bad leadership in your definition of it. No, we will not. We will continue to work, we'll continue to commit. In fact, whenever the country is not going well, that is the time we as Liberians, we are supposed to double down our efforts. That is the time as Liberians, we are supposed to find ways to work around all of the corruption and everything to still get things done. You don't throw your hands up and run away when the country is in hard times. And then you come back, you're waiting for the day the country gets better. Y'all keep waiting. Some of us, we think we have a responsibility. We have a caller. Let's go to the lines.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. My name is Agde M. Supu. I am calling you from Rwanda, East Africa. It is a pleasure. Firstly, let me tell you thank you for referencing some like-minded Liberians like the life of Mr. Armstrong Jagba, who celebrates his birthday, like Mr. Eric Wowo. These are people that we are living evidence, we are living testimony of their doings and a good attribute that they put up in society. Like Mr. Wowo, who just funded the change agent network from having one computer from the refugee camp. That opportunity, he used that opportunity just for having a one computer that he has extended that dream today. He has a dream of our building schools across the 15 subdivision of our this very that but sometimes when he posts on his social media, people blast at him. How is it possible that you can feel like, but these are things that are possible. I think the issue about it is that we are not just seeing, or the ordinary Liberians are not just seeing the possibility in it. So it means that we have to keep creating more awareness. We have to start thinking out of the box. We can't keep doing the same old thing and expect new results. And these things, all these things that are happening in the country, bow down to the high increase or the rampant increase of corruption. I think we have to talk more about corruption. We have to create corruption. We have to have institutions that will create more awareness to prevent corruption. We can fight this. We can win the battle against corruption if we start from the grassroots level. Thank you very much for the show.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for calling in. So let's let me flip this conversation a little bit. Those of you who want to solve national problem, you please go ahead and solve it. Some of us, we believe you got to learn how to solve community problem before you solve national problem. So we're working on community problem. Some of us like to work within our means. Many of you think you got a solution to national problem. However, you've been saying that to all for 10, 15, 20 years. We still haven't gone anywhere. Some of us believe our capacity and what we can do can impact our community. So what we're doing, we are learning how to solve community problem. Then we become master of that. Then we'll go to the next step. But people will talk about these things. We have another caller on the line. So let's go to the callers on the line here.
Go ahead, Mr. George Tule.
Hey, how you guys doing there? How you doing, you?
Doing very well, Mr. T. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I said something. All right. I'm not disputing the fact that engagement at the grassroots level is very, very important. That's not my point. My point is no nation has ever developed without, no nation, no empire, no kingdom have developed without the right leader for the right time. Normally it just takes a generational leader that would set the nation on the right course. And history is ripe with that kind of example, those examples. So, Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore is what it is today because of Lee Kuan Yew. What's the guy named? Sankara did in Burkina Faso, changed that nation forever. Ghana, without rolling, it took a rolling to come in hot. The advance of corruption and anti-nationalistic sentiments and actions in Ghana and set that nation on the right course.
Well, let me ask you a very quick question. I have a quick question for you.
Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. Yeah, you would disagree. Hold on 1 minute, sir.
Go ahead.
I know you're sure. I just want to make a point. Rwanda,
go ahead. Finish your thought.
Without Kagame setting the stage and leading, before when he was vice president, there was nothing remarkable about the country. When the president passed away, he became president. He had a plan, he had a vision, and he started to implement his vision and his plan. But this is where other things come in. He formed the right kind of people to work with, people who are like-minded, who could help him implement his vision. That is the problem. Without, it would take, you mentioned Jagba, for instance. He's doing farming. How much can one person do? How much enterprise funding does he have? How much policy can he implement on his own? Can his actions change the Ministry of Agriculture? How much can he do? But imagine if you had a leader who formed 20 Armstrong Jabbas to work with in agriculture. You had a national leader who said, look, we're investing in agriculture, but I'm looking to work with the Armstrong Jabba. Then all of them start emerging from the woodwork, and he established policies that he can work with. That is my only point. Okay, I'm only saying that it would take Liberia to work from the ground up. It would take us maybe 50 years to get to where we need to get to. But if you have a reform-minded leader or generational leader, one leader that comes and say corruption and all these different things, I will put them to bed. Like Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria has the biggest economy and everything, but they have never had the right leader. So as a result, with all of their growth and everything, the country is still looking like a backward country. Despite all the development they have, they don't have a centralized force. So that's my point.
Okay, Chaji, let me counter some of the things that you said. First of all, if Nigeria is a backward country, it's the same country that came to our aid. Nigeria is extremely developed. I agree they have poverty. I agree they have a lot of poverty and a lot of issue in Nigeria. But let me ask you the question, because you mentioned specific leaders. Should we put our trust in the 50 years of grassroots work we got to do, or the 173 years since 1847 that they've been telling us, say we need a right leader to set the right policies? Since 1847 to 2021, we still haven't gotten it right. What about Muammar Gaddafi in Libya? Was he a good leader or was he a bad leader, according to what we know? Because Libya thrived nonetheless under him when we see the contrast. But my question to you, since 1847, the argument that you are making, people have convinced us that they have the answers to national problems when all they did was lie to us. We 173 years plus. So should we keep hoping that Jesus Christ will send us a good leader, or should we work with the grassroots and change our communities one at a time for the next 50 to 75 years? Because that's less than 173.
Oh, you went off. I'm not hearing you again because I'm using
Okay, so maybe you can. I mean, if you can't hear me, maybe you can actually call back.
Let me just say this before I go off. We can do the two at the same time. We can, while we are doing grassroots engagement, investment, and everything, we can work, engage with our people, increase their level of participation in national discourse, get them to understand that they are their stakeholders also, that they don't just elect officials and go home. While we are doing that, we are investing, we're trying to implement or work with our national leaders and our national representatives to implement, to make sure the right policies are crafted that will help to achieve what you're talking about. While we are doing that, we are engaging, setting, criteria for national leadership, so that before somebody becomes a national leader, the person will know what we expect of them. Because let me tell you the truth, I don't care how much we engage from the bottom up. If we do not have the right person from the top coming down, we will be like kicking against the prick.
Yeah, but
it will be difficult.
Thank you. But we've never tried it. We keep saying we can do this when we tried what you said, looking for the best leader. Oh, we've been trying this since 1847 to 2021. We said, can we try the other one for once? We never tried it. How can you say something will not work when you've never tried it? So my whole argument here is I'm not disagreeing that we need a great leader. I agree. A great leader can accelerate. I don't think you and myself disagree, George, on that. We don't disagree. But all I'm telling you, we have refused to cultivate and develop great leaders. Where's a great leader going to come from? They will fall from heaven? Please name me who you think is a great leader right now. They wouldn't fall from heaven. Great leaders will be developed within our country. We can't keep saying we're waiting for a great leader. That is my argument. Yes, let's keep looking for a great leader, but you don't find a great leader. You develop great leaders. We have another caller on the line.
Montgomery, go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead. You're live.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think a few of our brothers are misconstruing what you are saying. You are speaking about leadership. People are talking about presidency.
Yep.
I think we should be. People are now understanding exactly why you are saying. There's a difference between leadership and this presidency of Liberia. We all as Liberians have the responsibility to help our communities. If we don't help our communities, it will be difficult for anybody to claim that you can be a leader of the country. I think I made a comment, and I just want to support you in what you are saying. Continue to do it. I don't know how we can expand the process. I'm going to help you to send the information out. But one major problem we have in Liberia is that everybody is believing that it is the presidency that brings up good leadership. It's no. We all have responsibility in our communities to bring up good leaders. We all have the responsibility to bring up our communities. We have young children. Some of us are in America here. We are helping people. We don't have to make noise in the public for policy, but at least if you can able to help one person at a time, that would be good. But if you always think that, well, if I become a minister before I do, see, about 70 to 80% of our projects in Liberia are incomplete. Why? Because we don't make plans.
Yep.
We don't make plans.
Thank you.
So in short, I just want to encourage you to be focused on what you are saying. I actually appreciate you, and I hope that other Liberians who are listening will understand exactly the fact that you are not linked to any political party, and just stick to that, because sometimes it can be misconstrued. Oh, he's supporting this person, he's supporting this person. Even the president of Liberia, George Weah, we can't continue to just get the president all alone. We know that he has people, he has advisors around him, but what prayer can we have for Liberia is to pray for him to succeed. If he doesn't succeed, we all will fall out. So thank you so much for this time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And let me just answer the question. Somebody made a comment. I think it's another big brother here, Kwame Opa Weeks, about change coming from a single person. Yes, indeed. In fact, Kwame Opa Weeks, change often actually comes from a single person. That's always where it's inspired from. And that's all I'm saying. Look, we've tried solving this national political problem since 1847. And let's keep trying. I'm not saying no till we get the right formula. All I'm saying is, can we also try now promoting, cultivating real leadership? Think about this. If someone like Baku Johnson continues to develop and promote and becomes president of Liberia, I think he would do much better. Or Eric Wawa, or who? Or Brenda Brewer Moore, or whoever else. Name them. They're plenty in Liberia. All I'm saying, I'm not saying don't fight hard to find a good president, or we shouldn't pray to God for good leaders. But work is not in the prayer portion. We need to work. Look, the children are in grade 5, grade 6, grade 7 in high school today. We are not focusing on them. That's the community level. But we are praying for good leaders. Where will they come from? Mars? Well, even in the diaspora, our children are failing, most of them falling below the radar. We are not investing in them. So yeah, please help me understand, where will the good leaders come from? We photocopy governance systems we put in our country since 1847. We haven't been able to reform it to make it consistent with our own cultures, with our own communities. We are still living this clash, this cultural clash, where our governance system clashes with our customary system. So where will the leaders come from? Like, trying to understand. We got dilapidated schools, right? We can't even help build toilets in our own communities, right? We cannot invest in ourselves, right? And then we keep saying we need good leaders. We need good leaders. Whose job is it to provide the good leaders? We all need to be working hard. If it means only within your own family, focus on your children. God, give them the best you can give them, so that God help them tomorrow. They get into a position of leadership. There might be those good leaders we're looking for. If you are helping little children, you are helping your nieces, your nephews, whoever you are. Look, good leaders will not fall from the sky. So when my brother George Kanatule and other people say we need good leaders, where will they fall from? Paul Kagame that you talk about in Rwanda did not come from the sky. Somebody invested in him to become who he became. Jerry Rollins you're talking about did not fall from the sky. Somebody invested in him to become who he became. So y'all keep asking this question, we need good leaders. From where? We've never created some. The ones that are working hard to be good leaders, we ostracize them. We disregard them and focus on corrupt people, focus on greedy people. The Mahmoud Johnsons, the Armstrong Jagbas, the Eric Wawas, the Brenda Brewer Moore, the Amma Harris, the Nyankwale Livingstones of our communities, the people who hold it together, our local market women who hold it together. We look at them as trash. And we sing songs behind the people who turn hundreds of thousands of our young people into child soldiers and destroy their future. We worship them. We adore them. Let's face the question. Some of you even called them leader. And you come to tell me we need good leaders. From where? We need leaders. We don't even need good leaders, because the people you are calling leaders today are all politicians. They are not leaders. Selfish people. Some of them are warlords. Some of them are criminals. So please help me understand. Y'all keep making an argument we need good leaders. Where will they come from? Pluto? Mars? They will come from right in Liberia. So y'all keep ostracizing our. Let's keep destroying our own communities. Let's keep refusing to invest in our own people and keep making the argument that good leaders will come one day. God is not a voodoo priest. God does not wave a magic wine. You gave God garbage, he will multiply your garbage and give it back to you, because it's disrespect. Go to the story of Cain and Abel. When Cain decided he could give God nonsense, you know what happened? You gave God excellence, God will multiply the excellence and give it right back to you. The leaders we have right now is a reflection of our society. I couldn't agree more. We pass in Morovia. We call our young brothers and sisters Zogos, a derogatory term. We look at them, we spit on them in some cases. We dash them, we avoid them. And then we call the perpetrators, the people who turn them into that, we call them honorables. Isn't that a backward society? I beg to differ. We don't need leaders. We have a work to do. We have a job to do. Let's focus on it. The people who are good leaders in our society, like my brother Armstrong Jagba is saying, what do we do to them? We ostracize them. The people who wake up every day sincerely, the leadership from our market women, the leadership from our young boys and young girls, young leaders, the leadership from our farmers, the people who go to work every day regardless of what you do, they try their best to not be thieves. They try their best to not be rogues. And then we limit our problem to a government. This is not about a government. or to one set of government. It's not about government. It's about this excuse. This poor excuse that we keep giving. Oh, we're waiting. We need good leaders. No country, and my brother George Canada, no country can develop a good central leadership. So my question is, where is that good central leadership going to come from? Is that voodoo that will bring it? God is not voodoo priest. You know where we should be focused now? You talk about corruption. Let me wrap up on the issue of corruption. Everybody talking about corruption will look at government. Let me tell you today, corruption is when you go to the church and you pay your offering and you know your church is corrupt and you still go every Sunday and still pay offering without asking hard questions. That is corruption. Corruption is when your pastor is caught in an act of rape in the church and you covered it up because it's your pastor. That is corruption. Let me tell you what corruption is. Corruption is when you are the community chairman or chair lady and you can produce financial report. When they ask you for the financial report, you insult everybody. That is corruption. Corruption is when you have a child by a woman and you decide that you will neglect, ostracize her and walk away and think it is her sole responsibility. That is corruption at its highest level. In fact, that is more dangerous. Corruption is when your child wrote LU entrance and failed, but you decided to find somebody to get something smarter so they can sneak them in. That is corruption. So let's have a serious conversation. If everybody wants to. But we cannot keep saying that this issue is just one person problem because it's not. It's our collective issue and we all need to focus on it. So let's work hard. Let's invest in our children. Before I wrap up, we will read the rest of the comments. Do we have time, Anthony, to go through some more comments before we kind of wrap up for the evening here?
Oh yes, let's review and.
So we got Lenu Keto. You sound patriotic and nationalist. I hope other Liberians will take on the challenge to listen to you and change the old ways of viewing things. Your show is educative and heart-touching. Keep it up, brother. I'm Lenu Keto of Kigali, Rwanda. Thank you, Lenu. Musu Senova said, I agree, Leo, change starts from the community. I agree. I only like to talk about things I can do. I don't like to talk about things I'm not capable of doing. Rachel Johnson said, America will not go down because of its constitution check and balance. I agree that America issue. Now let's talk about what it would make us not go down. It's strengthening our community. Kwame Opa Week say, Armstrong Jagba is changing Liberia through his crops and thousands are watching. Today in Liberia, you have disabled man as the best cassava farmer whilst able men are all into politics. Thank you, big brother Kwame Opa Weeks. And thanks for all you do as well. George Kanatule say, without the right national leadership, we'll not get anywhere as a nation. Grassroots participation is important, but without reform from the top, it would take a long time. Georgie, I'd rather commit to the long time than to be on this illusion that good leadership, national leadership will drop from heaven. I am committed to the long time. I'm not committed to the illusion that we can get good leadership any other way except that we ourselves build it. Nations don't develop overnight. It takes a very long time for nations to develop. Al Singh Sabah said, look, guys, Africa's development must be simultaneously implemented. How? Africa needs an analytical development organization with all expertise built within it that will supply authentic information to all African countries towards development. A single nation will always be stressed by their own. One thing we need to understand that we are far from the same heritage. Review the U.S. patent where all states almost look the same. When I listen to educated Liberians complaining about that comment continues there. So again, I don't disagree with all these big things. For me, I'm just saying, why not we do what we can do first? Why not we play our part? And you know what? We are hoping for all of the other great things. Let's do our part. So ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you today, let's talk about corruption. But corruption is not only when the government does it. Corruption is when you are in the diaspora, you raise money for your foundation. You say you go into Liberia to help 20 children. You go, you help 4 of them. You take picture, you come back and lie to us that you help 100. That is corruption. Corruption is when you go to church and you pay your money and you refuse to ask for a financial report because the pastor will get vexed. That is corruption. Corruption is when you lie to your brothers and sisters in the family. That is corruption. So all I'm asking you is to say it's time for us to stop focusing on the presidency. It's time for us to start focusing on leadership. The presidency is the presidency. It will not change Liberia. Governments are not designed to create change. Governments are designed to incubate and respond to change. That's how they work. So let's leverage government for what it's worth. And let's keep working hard so that we can develop good leaders. Let's not wait. They will not fall from heaven. And do what you can. Stop talking about things you can do. Work within your means. Stop sitting down, eating, relaxing, and all you think you can do is talk and say God will send us good leaders because you talk. No, God will send us good leaders because you worked with what you got. God will multiply it. That is the only way. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been another beautiful time here on the Liberian Dream. I look forward to engaging you again within the next 2 weeks. Have a great evening. Have a good night wherever you are. Bye-bye.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. USA all we want. Liberia. USA all we want. Liberia.